So, Mark, June is in the books and it was the hottest June ever. Even the Sphere was out there sweating and not loving it at all. We broke a ton of records, including the average high temp, 106.2 in June, the highest ever, the highest average low temp, the highest average temp, number of days over 100 degrees. And the forecast isn't even getting better.
Yeah, it looks pretty rough the next week or so too. But I mean, I don't want to like rain on your hot parade, but it was 62-ish here yesterday. It was kind of nice.
Yeah, we had the coldest June ever last year. I wasn't here. I was traveling, got back for July. It was hot. Now the hottest June ever. I guess people out there are probably yelling at their TV or their phone and saying, "It's Vegas. Why are you complaining about the heat?"
Yeah, but it is early for ball sweat season, so it jumped the gun a bit. Usually July, August is when it hits.
You're so happy you snuck that in there, aren't you? One of the things we've talked about time after time on this show is how public transport in Vegas kind of sucks. I mean, it's not great. We don't have trains. We don't have a lot of stuff that bigger cities have, but we have our buses. And unfortunately, sometimes the buses aren't the safest. The last time I rode the bus a few years ago to the airport from the north part of the city, it was a rough ride. There was a bunch of characters on the bus and you could use security. There's people not paying their fares. So they're hiring 300 armed guards to go be out on the buses, the RTC is. And I guess this is going to make things safer. They're going to be able to enforce things. Would this make you feel better about riding the bus?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we were in LA a few weeks ago and kind of ran into the same issue trying to get on subway from Hollywood down to downtown and just the stuff that you see and do, and there's not enough presence there. I mean, it's getting better, but it's not where it probably needs to be. So this sounds like a great move. I don't know where the money's going to come from. Maybe just charging people properly or having people pay that are jumping on buses and stuff and not paying. Maybe that will make up the cost. But you feel for the bus drivers that have to deal with this every day. So I'm sure they're very for this to have somebody out there to help them. And then as well as the riders, it becomes more usable for other people. I'm sure most people have only ever ridden the Deuce when they're in Vegas, but if you live in Vegas, this is probably good news for you.
And these 300 guards are going to be armed. So, they're almost like a police force on there. So hopefully it makes riding around the city a little bit better. It's not going to become a train. We're not going to actually have real public transport that's very useful here ever. But yeah, good to see the buses are getting better. One of the interesting trends over the last few years is vending machines in Las Vegas. We see the pizza vending machine from Cake Boss. I mean, his cake vending machines are everywhere. The Carlos Bakery, I mean, they're at the airport. There's like dozens and dozens of them around town. But this is a new one, a Pokemon trading card, or actually it's just a trading card vending machine where everything is rated PSA 10, meaning it's basically perfect condition. You pay $50. This is at Plaza, and then you get a card. The video we spotted, they got a Pokemon card, ended up being worth about $35, but apparently you can find expensive cards too. So it's another form of gambling.
Yeah, and you can do it with your credit card, which is extra dangerous, or a card. I don't know if it's debit or it just says card. When I first was skimming the notes, last week, and I saw this posted, I was originally thinking PlayStations because I just saw the PS and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You spend $50 and you got like a 1 in 20 chance or whatever to win a PlayStation. Maybe that'll be the next game that comes out. But card collecting's like making a big comeback. I know Pokemon's been big forever, but I have a lot of, friends and stuff that are getting back into sports cards, which you can buy here too. And there's some worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this kind of goes back to when we were kids. It was big in the 90s. And it's different now where you open a pack and you don't really care about most of the cards. There's like one special card in each pack and you try to see what that one's worth and how, rare it is. And back in the day, it was like all the cards were cool. And now it's just the rest are filler cards that nobody cares about, which is kind of crazy.
I mean, it is Vegas. You could lose that much money very quickly. So putting it in, getting the chance at a better card. I guess if you're a card collector, this makes a ton of sense. But yeah, what other vending machines could we get in Las Vegas? Japan has vending machines for just about everything. It seems like they're spreading now all over town. So yeah, what will they think of next?
You're at least going to get something where gambling in Vegas doesn't guarantee you to walk away with anything. So maybe this is the highest form of it or best form of it.
So we have to solve a controversy from the last show about the Sphere. This last weekend, the NHL Draft was at the Sphere. And on the last show, you mentioned that drafts would be a good idea at the Sphere. I believe you were referring to the fact that the NHL Draft was already happening because it would be very random for you to just come up with the idea of a draft for the Sphere, but you got called out in the comments, so I'll let you defend yourself.
I didn't realize that it was happening like that week. I remember us talking about it. and I thought it'd be cool. NFL's too big. NHL's probably a good size, especially in Vegas with how much everybody loves hockey there right now. Since the Knights came into town and everything. But I totally didn't realize the NHL draft has never been on my to-do list to watch, so I didn't know when it was happening or anything like that. So that's on me. That's my bad. You didn't say anything though.
Well, because I assumed, well, you knew it was happening, though. That's the point. You knew we had covered that the
Yeah.
NHL draft is happening. So I just assumed you're alluding to that they should do more of that. So it seems like it was kind of a mixture of both. So we'll solve that controversy. But the draft did happen and it looked cool. Lots of interesting visuals. My buddy was there, sent me a bunch of pictures from the floor. Yeah, I mean, it's a great space for anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And like I said, perfect size NHL. I guess they could do NFL, have people inside do that, and then project everything on the outside, especially, we've talked about them adding speakers and everything, but it would be like a glut of people just standing around the sphere. But I think it'd be kind of cool to see, and people could watch it from like all over town as they're going around. So maybe that's in the future.
So much future for the sphere. Let's do it. So this next one is a fun story. My buddy told me about a common friend of ours who came to Vegas in the last couple months and did this thing called Love Cloud. And this is a way to join the Mile High Club. Now, I guess a lot of people still do the Mile High Club. You go into a nasty bathroom on an airplane. I mean, airplane bathrooms have gotten smaller and smaller. I don't really know how you accomplish that. But you don't need to do that. You can go to Love Cloud. They fly out of North Las Vegas Airport. They have 3 packages. The copper package gets you a 30-minute flight. Silver, $11.95, gets you a 45-minute flight. Or for $13.95, you can get the gold package, a 60-minute flight, Mile High membership cards, and a certificate. The plane is all done up on the inside. What do you think? Is this the most Vegas thing ever?
It is. Are you bringing a black light with you to see how well they cleaned, or do you just not want to
No.
know, kind of like bed bugs?
No.
No, it's funny because, on our Wednesday show of 20-Minute Travel, the other, YouTube show we do, we're going to talk about raw dogging on a plane. And initially when I saw that in the headline, I was thinking, oh, so people are doing Mile High Club without a condom, I guess? I don't know. But it's not that. So you'll have to check out that episode to see what that's all about. But I feel like a big part of the Mile High Club is the chance of getting caught. And we see the videos of like flight attendants calling people out, bathrooms are only for one and all that stuff. And like, is this as fun? And then you get off the plane, everybody that's working there knows what you did, even gives you a card for it. Does it just feel off and not as fun? I don't know.
My friend that did it, there's some really cool pictures from inside with the city behind you. And yeah, it looks great. And then if you go to their website, there's pictures of customers and they're all happy getting off the plane. So people are embracing it. They're not ashamed of this. You're not doing the Love Cloud unless you're very proud of what you're about to do.
You'd spend 15 minutes, join the Mile High Club, and then the other 45, you just stare at the skyline, I guess.
That's what was funny to me about the time differences, the copper package, the gold. It's like, I don't need the gold, I don't need it, but
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, they also do wedding packages and other scenic flights, things like that. So yeah, you can check them out. Cool idea. Perfectly Vegas. Love to see it. Love Cloud. As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. Lots of laughing going on there behind the channel. All of that good stuff. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. And thanks so much to everybody who supports us over there. So another week, another story about Hard Rock Mirage closing in a few weeks. This one is an interesting one for wine lovers out there. And I'm kind of surprised to see this, but they are offering a blowout sale on all the wine at the restaurants. If you buy 6 or more bottles, they give you 10% off. Unity members get a whole 5% off as well. So I guess you could get 15% off if you do it. First off, doesn't seem that cheap. And secondly, I'm just surprised they don't move the bottles somewhere else.
Yeah, you would think they would just sell it to like another hotel, or maybe I'm sure it'd be expensive to move it to another Hard Rock property. So, but you think you'd go to somebody in Vegas and be like, hey, do you want to buy our catalog? I'm sure the markup is pretty steep still, like compared to what you would get at the store, but they might have some unique stuff that you couldn't find anywhere else if you live in the area. So it'd be kind of cool. And also you could like buy a bottle, hold on to it if you love Mirage. It's kind of a unique thing to kind of take the closing with, or toast to it when it reopens as Hard Rock. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, maybe somebody out there will let us know if this is good, but I just have to think 10% off, even another 5% for Unity members. I'm sure we'll learn more about other sales, other closeout sales, liquidations, things like that. That could be exciting. Hopefully we'll cover that coming up. Recently, Fontainebleau released a drone video of their high roller suite. And I love this because it's completely staged. It's one of those drone videos where you have people doing different activities there. It reminds me of when we went on that Hilton trip to Nashville a few months ago. we toured 10 different hotels, but they had this actor who sort of met us in different hotels, and we were visiting her room, and she was doing
Weird.
different business activities, and it was fun and interesting. But anyway, this is an incredible room. I mean, look at it. Great stuff.
Yeah, I love these drone videos. We've seen it with the sports books and Durango and stuff before it opened, and other ones as they redo it. So I think it's cool for the room. You get a quick look at it. Maybe it goes too fast for this one because this room is massive, and I got a little lost of where they were going and what they're doing. So they could have slowed it down a little bit. But you get a good look at probably their best room on property, and it is huge, and there's so much there. That bathroom is insane.
Yeah, it's an incredible room. I had to watch it a few times, and I still don't feel like I got a good grasp of the room itself. You're right, it's moving so fast, but you get that stylized version where everybody's doing a specific thing as the camera passes them. All good stuff for marketing, but yeah, beautiful room. We love seeing rooms like this in Las Vegas. We don't always get looks inside, so it's nice to see how the other half lives. And, I've had some pretty nice hotel rooms, but I don't think anything quite that nice.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, these rooms, if you're a high roller, you're probably gambling a lot. Do you even use the room to its fullness? Like, this is more of like a bachelor party or bachelorette party room, or maybe you're watching the Super Bowl or something, hanging out with the group. Like, there's so much space here. I wonder how often it goes to somebody that barely uses it.
All the time. I mean, it's just more about ego, right? To have a room
Yeah.
like that. I've had some presidential suites where I've gotten upgraded to them, giant suites. Usually it's when I'm by myself on like a one night stay or something where I'm not really able to use it. But it feels good to be in a room like that, even if you're not, using it for any practical purposes and you're just sleeping on the bed.
Yeah, you just walk around like, I'm going to sit on every piece of furniture and then go to bed.
Plus, you got to show it off to the people, bring random people up from the casino. They steal your watch. It's all a whole thing that happens here.
Yeah, random. Totally didn't know her.
So let's head downtown to Four Queens. And they announced a big renovation of their North Tower. So this is the tower that sits right on Fremont Street and probably needs the most help. Four Queens famous for no resort fees. So that is a cool thing that they do there. And as part of this, they're upgrading to a more modern product, larger bathrooms, new furnishings, and soundproofing. It's going to make it quieter. The Fremont Street experience wasn't a thing when this tower was built.
That's the one thing I noticed in the press release, or the notation, is that they pointed out soundproofing, and I think pretty much everything but Circa on Fremont Street could use it, and they didn't have this huge spectacle with all the sound and all the people walking around as much as they do now. So I think all of them need to be refreshed a bit, but the biggest thing I think people would complain about is soundproofing. So even if you didn't upgrade, but you could figure out a way to soundproof these rooms, I think it'd go a long way for a lot of people.
Yeah, and this is a property a lot of people like to stay at because it doesn't have resort fees. Now, the economics are, interesting because we always suggest just adding the room rate plus the resort fee, and that's your actual rate, and then compare it. So is Four Queens always cheaper? I don't know, but it's older and those rooms haven't always been the best, and you don't really have a lot of options if you want to avoid resort fees. So this is great because you're going to get a newer room product. It's probably not going to be super, super fancy, but it sounds like they're enlarging the bathroom. So this is pretty extensive, and quieter rooms is a big selling point too, because yeah, Fremont gets too loud. And I don't care if you like all that vibe. Sometimes you just want to go to sleep.
Yeah, and I thought it would just be lipstick, new carpet, new paint, stuff like that. And the fact that they're widening the bathrooms means they're knocking down walls and doing plumbing and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be pretty big, and it's good to see them spend some money. It's long overdue, and hopefully it comes out a product that people like. We've talked about how Plaza's really kind of redefined itself, and Circa coming in there with high-end rooms. I think they're kind of pushing the envelope for everybody else, which is cool to see.
The other tower, no word on that, basically saying they're not touching it right now, but it does not sit right on Fremont Street, so it's not as loud. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. 4th of July coming up this week. There's tons of fireworks shows all over the city. I know some local casinos like Green Valley Ranch are doing it. There's fireworks shows just about everywhere. Plaza's doing one downtown as well, which is interesting. So they have to do fireworks on Thursday this week and Friday because they have their normal Friday fireworks. You think they're regretting it with this big budget for all these firecrackers going up in the air?
I mean, if it's bringing people down there, probably not, but we haven't seen any figures, or at least I haven't seen him say anything of how it's played out. Or, we've always joked that Circa gets the best of it because they get all the views and they don't have to spend any of the money. So maybe they're just going to get 2 for 1 this week, which is pretty funny. But no, I bet you, the amount of press they've gotten for it, it made it worth it on its own. And then hopefully it's bringing people into the door and checking out all the new stuff they've added. And, we always get excited for fireworks, and then we always have the people people that are upset about them, especially if you live nearby, if you live on, near Fremont Street and you have pets and stuff. It's always rough a couple nights for them. So I'm sure they're not happy about this at all.
Oh, that's just the beginning of it in Las Vegas. So many illegal fireworks. It's gotten worse every year. The whole sky is lit up across the valley, side to side. Pets beware. Everybody beware. But it's interesting how Plaza is becoming kind of synonymous with fireworks. We know they do them on New Year's Eve, now 4th of July, which is pretty typical, but now all the summer fireworks. And I feel like we're just going to start associating fireworks with Plaza.
Yeah, until they go to the drone shows, and then we'll be super awesome. And nobody can complain. Still get the cool spectacle. That's what they need to work on.
So back to expansion news and Durango, which is our second newest casino in Las Vegas. Our biggest complaint is it's too small. It's so busy and they had to pack the machines in tightly. It's a beautiful property. We really do like it. Well, they did say when they opened that they were going to do a phase 2 expansion, and we've now learned some more details. They went to the county commission to alter their original approval from back, in 2021, and said that they're going to add another parking garage, which is a surprise because they have a massive parking garage, and expand the casino. So this allows them to add the parking garage and make the expansions. There's no details as to what they're going to add yet. They had said previously potentially a bowling alley, potentially a movie theaters, basically what we see in some of their other properties. So I would expect that, but a bigger casino too, and they have the ability to build another tower as well.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that because we were there shortly after opening and as busy as it gets, and the parking garage didn't feel like overly packed or anything. But I guess if you're expanding and then you're adding movie theaters and other things that you'd want to bring your kids to, you build a parking structure right there, so easy access in and out for any locals that are coming just to go to the movies, dining, stuff like that. So I could see it making sense there. And then, if you build the tower in the future, you already have that set up for it. They must be doing really well if they're planning on a parking structure. Is that not the biggest, like, the dead giveaway that things are going well when you start building something that brings you no money until they charge for parking at least?
Yeah, it makes me think that maybe we're going to see some sort of entertainment venue or something where you need more cars. One of the things Station Casinos has always done really well, though, is build parking. If you look at Red Rock, multiple garages, Green Valley, multiple garages, and even the ones that only have one, they're big garages. So they've always been sort of heavy on this. And yeah, I guess they figured they need it. But Durango is expanding. It's good news. It's a new casino. I think all the stories out of there have been largely positive. People have embraced it very well. Every time I've been in there, it's very busy. And it brings a new sort of vibe to the casino space. We talk about the light and airy. There's natural light everywhere, big ceilings, other than the machines being packed in a little bit too tight. Yeah, it's a great sort of new age casino experience.
You think if they do the expansion that they space out the machines, or do you think they just cram more over there and leave them tight on the other side?
I think they might eventually. I mean, there are other casinos, they're not that tight, but maybe eventually they'll spread it out. But I guess that's the least of the worries. I haven't heard a ton of people complain about that. It's more my complaints, but every time I'm in there, I mean, it's very noticeable
I hated it.
how tight everything is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, that's one thing. And once you're sitting in a machine, you're okay. It's not like the machines themselves, like the one next to you is, you're already pretty tight in any casino. Either way, Station Casinos, they're going to expand here. Inspirada Station supposedly still happening, and we'll see that. But new casinos on the horizon. That's the good news. Off the Strip. We don't know what's happening on the Strip. We don't know if we'll ever get anything else with everything going on, but we're still going to get the local stuff because locals love to gamble.
Yeah, it's good to see, and I'm glad they're doing well, and beautiful property, so they definitely deserve it. They put everything in there. It's probably one of my favorite properties walking through, and the George, all that stuff is great. So I'm glad to see them expand, and knowing that, the quality of the builds they do lasts a long time, and this expansion will be something that we'll be looking forward to checking out anyway.
And one last thing to mention, I was at Sunset Station on Saturday night. I didn't take any video of this, but I'll show video from when I was there before. Just around that new sports book, like the UFC fight was on, and just the atmosphere there, really incredible. So this new product and the way they're building things, the George is very similar with the big screens, sportsbook, all good stuff. Station Casinos, love what they're doing with their properties. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about, the expansion at Durango, Four Queens, renovation, the vending machine for players cards, the heat, armed guards on the buses. So much to discuss. Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Should have said Michigan State's player was drafted number 2 in the NHL draft, so that's kind of cool. But have a good week, everybody.
So much future for the Sphere. Let's do it. This next one's
Except for
interesting.
making money. Uh, I don't know why I
See why
thought
you
that's so
keep
funny,
going.
but it was. Yeah. Okay. Put it at the end.